Thanks, dear viewers, for joining us in this special broadcast consecrated to the address to the young people of the President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, who has delivered his traditional Youth Day message to young people in the Republic of Cameroon. And in the next 30 minutes, we're going to be analyzing what the President of the Republic told young Cameroonians today. Normally, we are supposed to be doing this with our two guests on set, but for some technical reasons, we are going to start with Ndigum Emmanuel, civil society activist and teacher. Thank you for joining us, son.
Thank you, Mr. Babila. It's always a pleasure to meet a people's voice, which is Equinoxe. That above the images, we render account.
Right, proud to this address of the head of state to young people in Cameroon ahead of the celebration of the National Youth Day tomorrow. Some young people in the northwest and southwest regions of the country and other parts of the country said they were not expecting anything new from the head of state. What new thing did you pick out from that speech?
Well, I will start by telling you that not all presidents, by virtue of fate or by nature, are obliged to be successful presidents. If you happen to be one, you will be celebrated. If you happen to have been a failure, the only option is to give way to the people. I would be very succinct.
What do you mean by that? Are you saying that the President of the Republic of Cameroon has not been a success?
Well, as a person, I respect him, but as a president, I have very little to write home about. The man called President Biya. If I were to talk about achievements, I think Mr. Biya has little or nothing. I'm talking from my perspective to write home about. And I was surprised that today I took a pen, a paper, thinking I was going to take down something new. But unfortunately, I ended up taking down nothing new. It is a replay, a repetition of what we have often heard in the past years. I don't want those who watch with a bit of...
The President of the Republic indicated that young people should avoid being pessimistic. And from what you're saying now, you can be tagged a pessimist.
Well, in Cameroon, saying the truth makes you a pessimist. And if saying the truth makes you a pessimist, let me be held accountable for one. Mr. Babila Jonathan, let me just give you a few things that I took down. The president mentioned Chan 2021 that just ended. How many youths were implicated in this Chan affair, apart from those who were in the field of play? And you know the crisis rocking the Football Association of Cameroon. And if you go to this Football Association, I bet you, I want to be challenged on this microphone, how many youths are in this Football Association? That's the first point.
Talking about the African Nations Championship 2020 edition, which just ended, there were many young people who were serving as volunteers.
Yeah, thank God you say volunteer. It means that Cameroon has been reduced to a level where the place of youth is for volunteerism. The place of youth is not for full implication of actions in their own country. We have remained volunteers. What a pity. It's a good word to use, that they were volunteers. And now let me ask you, you are a journalist, I'm not the one asking the questions, but I'm tempted to ask you, how many youths in this country today can pride themselves of high positions in this present regime? But before I go further, please permit me. He still came back to something he has been mentioning. 500,000 employment of youth in Cameroon, which is a folklore. Because since he started talking, we cannot place a solid finger on the number of people, youths who have been employed in Cameroon. But before then, you see, it's just that we are faced here with time constraint.
Why are you? What's your problem with the special employment program or the special job creation program, which indicated that 5,000 jobs were created in the course of 2020? Government is looking forward to continuing in that light, creating jobs for Cameroonians.
Yes, my problem is that the president seems to be losing touch with the realities of his own country. And that is what I said on this platform the other day, that those who cannot move the country. If you cannot move, you cannot move the country. And it comes back, he has comforted my position on the fact that he does not have an idea of what happens in his country. When the president says he created 500,000 employment opportunities or openings, did he give any details? Did he give any special domain where these youths were recruited or employed? No.
Those who are close to him will certainly tell you that if he were to give all the details on the 500,000 jobs created, it's going to take him a whole day, and it may not be enough. But the creation of 500,000 jobs, is it not something significant?
No, it should have been. It would have been something very significant.
The rate of underemployment is very high among young people in Cameroon today. The government cannot employ everybody, certainly.
Good. That's a very good question. It would have been very significant if it was real. But with this regime, with the sit-tight old squirrels in Yaoundé who have taken lies as part of their legacy for this country, we can't say the least. And when you are talking about the government cannot, I am one of the young Cameroonians who do not believe in government works. But mind you that Cameroon has reduced the economy of Cameroon to a salary economy. And that is why the crime is so alarming. You know what I mean by salary economy? Because I would have loved to be an entrepreneur so that I can employ other youths.
The president
but with the regime in place,
the president of the republic indicated that in the special 3-year program of that is through 2020, 5,500 projects were financed to the tune of 15 billion francs CFA. These are projects, not government work.
In Cameroon, we are used to figures, but we are not used to realizations. I will take you a bit out of topic. When Mr. Biya was in Bamenda, I think I was about 4 years or 5 years old, he said, and I quote, "I shall personally supervise the Bamenda ring road." Till today, where's the ring road? Or you want to just come in 2021 and force me to believe that Mr. Biya has become a prophet that says what happens? No. I respect him as a person and as a patriarch, given that nature has been so kind to him to keep him this far. But I don't respect any of his projects because it is never realized.
But there are young people who can show up projects financed in the special 3-year program, and some of them are pushing on with the projects after they were supported by a government to the tune of 15 billion francs CFA.
Okay, the sons and daughters of the CBDM militants, you mean to say, is that what you mean to say? We know how it functions in this country. In this country, I earlier mentioned to you that where our president has failed and failed woefully is when he never thought of making Cameroon an economy which is backed by entrepreneurial skills, but he made an economy backed by salary. A salary economy is the poorest economy in the world. And that is where Mr. Biya failed. Because if you make the people to believe that they can survive through salary, hell no, he can't. Even though talking about the speech of the president today, of which to me I've always had a very big problem with this day. Why the day should be called or attributed to the youth, whereas the youths have little or nothing to do with the running affairs of this country, with the day-to-day running of the affairs of this country. I think, first of all, I have a problem with the day called the Youth Day. And
yes,
because
before that problem, talking about entrepreneurship, this is something that the head of state has been encouraging young people to develop entrepreneurial skills, to get into entrepreneurship, and government authorities have also been talking about this and creating some projects in view of bringing the people, the young people, into this domain, into this job creation domain, and so on.
In Cameroon, we do a lot of talking with nothing done concretely. We are already used to it.
When the head of state says, young people, you have to be innovative, you have to be creative.
What has he as the head of state?
If this does not happen?
Is the head of state creative? He's not creative. Head of states are creative when they are on the field constantly, Mr. Babila. Can you name the last time you saw our head of state roam the streets of the various towns in Cameroon? No. I think we have a head of state who is a head of state for Yaoundé and not for the country. Because how many times have you seen him go down to the field? I am a father. On the eve of school resumption, I give money for my children to buy school books and other school needs. What is my role? Back in the evening, I have to call all of them to the table. Kelly, remove your bag. Keller, remove your bag. Kerem, remove your bag. Show me all the pencils that you bought. If I fail to do that, and the children whom I sent to go and buy these books go and swindle the money or direct the money to Jambo, which is legalized in my country, who should be blamed? Should I be blamed or my children be blamed?
But he has assigned people to do some of those things that you highlighted.
Mr. Babila.
The Prime Minister, the Minister of Territorial Administration and others, they're constantly on the ground, moving here and there from different parts of the country, meeting with young people, meeting with bike riders here and there, talking with them, advising them, giving them instructions and all of that.
I'm sure that if you're not coming from another universe, if you are coming from the Cameroon in which I live, you'll know that most of these people you have named here are just figureheads. They don't even, I think sometimes I ask myself, do these ministers really have what we call cahier de charge in French? Do they have job description?
Well-defined assignment.
Yes, do they have job description? Because and I told you the other day, Cameroon is failing because those who know practically nothing are put to do everything. These ministers, most of them, if you ask them in the morning, what is your activity for the day? I, seated here, Emmanuel, before a week starts on Monday, I go to my diary book. I know what I'm supposed to do from Monday to Friday. All right. Most of these ministers do not have. That is why you discover that they always behave so haphazardly. Some of them even behave as if a cane just stroked their buttocks and they got up from sleep and they were forced to say something.
What do you think about what the head of state said concerning the security issues in the northwest, in the southwest, in the east, in the far north region of the country?
No,
still calling on the young people in the northwest and southwest regions who are carrying guns.
I don't know whether the whole Cameroon has to go on the streets and lie down, cry, move out blood for the head of state to know that we are crying. I have said in this same platform, what is going to solve the problems of northwest, southwest, east, or whatsoever is genuine voice of reason. When he speaks, you still see in him that arrogance, that pride. And the father of the nation has to put aside pride when he wants to solve a problem like the one that Cameroon is going through. You have to put pride aside. Genuine voice of reason is what will lead Cameroon out of where we are now. All right,
Emmanuel, civil society activist and teacher, thank you for joining us today. And Yenchi Ernestine will be joining me now. We will continue to talk about what the head of state said to the young people in the Republic of Cameroon on the eve of National with the celebration that will be coming up tomorrow, and the head of state also talked about the coronavirus. That is where he started his address to young people today, talking about the coronavirus pandemic equally affecting young people in the country. Yangchi Ernestine, you are a civil society activist, you are equally a teacher. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila Jonathan, and happy youth day to all the Cameroonian youths.
What specific thing caught your attention in a special way in all what the head of state said today?
What caught my attention was when he spoke about the infrastructure we just got new. At least that brought an innovation to all Cameroonians, because seeing that we could have few modern stadiums is really a pride, because the past years it has been a shame for everybody to see that no tournament, no international tournament could be played in our own nation. But right now, I think it's something wonderful. So talking about us preserving this infrastructure was a great idea, because having something and not preserving it for a long time means you have nothing. So all Cameroonians should be proud of it, and we learn to keep these infrastructures.
The infrastructures in the domain of sports, with the modern stadia constructed in Yaoundé, in Douala, in Limbe, that is what caught your attention. How is it profitable to you as a young person?
As I said, it's a pride that at least my nation has 2 or 3 good stadiums. Because at first it was a sham. But when we talk about stadiums, it's not enough. Who are those playing on these stadiums? We need Cameroonian youths to make use of this stadium. I, for one, is not profitable. That's not my field, sports or maybe whatever concerns the stadium.
But you're happy about the image of the country that is uplifted in that domain?
Yes, the image of the country is important to me too. But Cameroon should make sure that their youth should make use of the stadiums or all the infrastructures. You know, I often said that sports, maybe some other cultural activities such as music, are what push the youths to shine in the world. Because look at countries like Nigeria. People like P-Square, all these other big stars, Yemi Alade and all that, they might not be educated as well as they can be, but look at the way they make a name and carry the Nigerian flag up. What is happening to the Cameroonian youth? We talk about fighting in our own federation.
And the head of state said that the football officials should come together and put order in the organization.
Just talking is not enough. Let him sit on the table, hit the hammer where the nail is. Talking is not enough. We're spoken enough in this country. And what kills us is favoritism. Because at times we think that he himself is scared of these people. And what kills the Cameroonian economy is putting the right people in the right place. If you cannot put somebody who merits something and you just get somebody because maybe of position, because of maybe corruption, because maybe tribalism, what do you expect? You end up getting the wrong result.
So the head of state should not limit himself to calling on the football officials to put order. He himself should come and put order. Is that what you're saying? He
himself should come and put order. If he's the head of state, it's his responsibility to make sure the country functions well. Without missing what? It's his responsibility. Looking at his age, we know the head of state is a bit tired, but he proved that he is saying to do his own activities as a head of state. If not, why not transfer power? Let him transfer power. We respect him, we honor him, we know he has done a lot for the Cameroonian society.
Are you asking the head of state to step down, to resign?
Without missing words, we want the head of state to rest.
He should rest.
He should rest in the proper way.
About the coronavirus. The head of state talked about the coronavirus and the impact on the young people and, of course, the respect of barrier measures and all of that stuff.
Talking of the coronavirus, we know we just want to thank God Almighty that it was not really as dangerous as in other countries. But talking about Cameroon, I was really so embarrassed when schools were closed, but snacks of license were left open. And you know, those are the area where youth mingle and there's no control. Which means that in reality, if we really had to have the pandemic, as we see in other countries like China and USA, then about half of Cameroonian population should have died. I don't know if it's a miracle or something, but we really want to thank God for it. For it's really a miracle that most people survive this pandemic.
All right, one of the big problems affecting young people in Cameroon is unemployment. Are you satisfied with what the head of state said? He mentioned the creation of 500,000 jobs in 2020, and he also mentioned that in the special 3-year program in 2020, government financed 5,500 projects to the tune of 15 billion francs CFA, and government is looking forward to do more in this domain.
If I may ask, 500,000 jobs, where and when were these jobs given? Unless he wants to tell us that it's maybe self-employed jobs, because that is what is actually keeping the youth busy. Does he want to tell us that it's maybe hawking? Does he want to tell us that it's maybe these small enterprises which we open left and right, which at the end of it, the tax system will not allow us to grow? 500,000 jobs. I don't think it's real.
You don't think it's real, but 500,000 jobs, the head of state, however, did not give some details on the areas concerned. That would have taken him as long as a day to do that. But I believe that these jobs is not referring to bike riders or those who are doing some kind of petty menial jobs and things like that.
You know what is killing Cameroon is we are losing confidence or trust in a system of government. We say what we cannot do, and we say a lot, and which nobody knows when that will be done.
The head of state says that's what we should avoid, losing trust and confidence in the government authorities who are there to lead the people to greener pastures.
We will not lose hope in ourselves, but not in government authorities. I want to cancel that word. We will not lose hope or faith in our own self as Cameroonians. Because I, for one, I know I'm a fighter. I keep struggling, job, being employed or not being employed. I try doing something for myself. And that is what has been keeping a lot of Cameroonians. I admire my brothers and sisters from the West. And I think a lot of us are picking up what we call the Bameleke spirit, which means what you see, you do. You don't depend on your qualification, and you don't depend on somebody to employ you. Whatever you see that can take care of your needs, you do it. So talking about the government authorities, talking about all these people, we are not out to judge them. I want to say they're doing their job. I want to say maybe they're doing what they think is right. But come to think of it, let them get down to the field, meet the people in the grassroots, try to understand the pain that Cameroonians are facing. Really, at times, people are grumbling, people have a lot of grudges within them, but they don't know where or how to express it. That's why you keep seeing crisis left, crisis right, or you see people sit and fight and shed blood for no good reason, just because of lack of dialogue. If those people can talk on TV, or if the head of state and the head of government, they can sit and give us all these promises. We don't want promises anymore. We want realization. Let's face the fact. Let's see things being done so that Cameroonians can regain the trust in them. Cameroonians can regain the trust in helping us build a better Cameroon.
Cameroonians can regain trust in government authorities. In the meantime, there is a war, so to speak, crisis going on in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and the head of state and the government have been striving to put an end to this war, fighting the secessionists, calling them to come out of the bushes, and so on. And the head of state equally came back on this major problem affecting the unity of the country, as he indicated.
On that point, he spoke about it, but it was very light, if you ask me. This crisis has brought down the entire Cameroonian's economy. Talking about it lightly looks like it's a child's play. People have died. Properties have been lost. And yet we just joke about it. If you call out the boys to come out from the bushes, I don't think it's a solution, even if they have to come out. Are you sure you're going to change them? Where do you integrate them? Are you sure you're going to resolve their problems or give them what they want? We need solutions. We have often called on dialogue. The international community have called on dialogue. Has that been done? When we talk about the national dialogue, that was not what everybody intended. We wanted something that concerned the two major people who are fighting, which are the heads of the secessionists and the Cameroonian government. At least let us start by this dialogue. Then we'll know that they truly want to resolve the problem. The longer it stays, the more life we lost. Talking to one girl today, she does what we call pedicure locally on the streets. She told me, I really do not care what happens. All I want is peace. Those people who have died will never come back. Can you imagine the pain she has in her heart? Seeing people dying, running away from the northwest to come to Douala, having nothing to do, sitting in the streets under the sun, trying to fend for herself and her kid.
I listened to a young Cameroonian today speaking on national television, and he said that he expected the head of state to announce real measures. He used these words, real measures, to put an end to the conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Did you perceive something real, something concrete, something that's going to bring immediate solutions to the destruction, the killings, the abductions in the northwest and southwest regions of the country in the head of state's address to the nation today?
I think we've done enough talking. We need actions. I repeat, we need actions. Talking is not enough. People have spoken, a lot have been said, but nothing is being done. And sitting on the media and trying to say certain things might just worsen things. You know, a lot of us are added more fuel to this fire by just talking.
But he has been constantly criticized by opposition politicians for not speaking constantly like some other heads of states have been doing.
Like I said before.
And now he speaks, and then you say that.
He spoke about it, but it's very light. The gravity of the situation on hand is more than just sitting and you talk like, let they come out from the bushes and all. We need concrete solutions.
What action do you expect the head of state to take?
Dialoguing with somebody doesn't take a lot. Let them bring out those people from prison and let them talk. When the Cameroonian society see them sit and dialogue, they will decide who is on the wrong. We will decide what could be changed. Let him start with dialogue. We know it's not easy, but seeing your country being destroyed, you know, as a lot of people say, it will go down to history. It is better you have a good name when you're going down than just sitting and like keeping pride and destroy every good works you've worked before. So we want him to start up something concrete, which is dialogue. When he starts talking to the separationists, then we will see that actually he wants peace.
You should talk to Sisiku Ayuktabe, you should talk to Dr. Sako, you should talk to Mancho BBC, you should talk to Galim Felix and all those people.
Why not, if that will bring us peace? Why not talk to them and allow young and innocent Cameroonians, both in the army and both the separatist fighters, to die for no good reason, when we know it's something that could be resolved? Why not talk to them? We want him to talk to those that are involved. We might not know all of them, but those that matters, if he wants to know them, he wants to talk to them, certainly he would do it. We want him to talk to them. At least 4 years is not a child's play. Talking about the number of people that have died so far is not a child's play. These people, as that girl said, they will never come back. A life lost can never be regained. Life has no photocopy. So why waste a life when you know you can easily resolve the problem? We want the problem solved.
Now, before we go, as a woman now, there's been what is considered as an attack. There's been an increase of what is considered today as an attack on women, violence against women, sexual violence, and many other things that are affecting the women, and even some cultural practices that are still going on in some parts of the country. Did you find anything specific about this in the Head of State's address?
If you look at it well from when we start having all this crisis, there's a lot of insecurity. One, you see a lot of people who are armed, which is so easy for them to commit all kind of crimes. So why not rape anybody you want to rape if you have the power? You know, rape has a lot of causes. You talk about schools not going, especially in the Northwest and Southwest. These girls stay at home. Who comes to visit them? Nobody knows. Where do these children spend their time? Nobody knows. If the parents are trying to run away and maybe the girls are at home or maybe running to and going to their own direction. Because there was a time here in Douala, you find a lot of young girls hanging out at one point, having nowhere to go. Some would tell you they just got into a car that was coming and then they ran off to Douala. That alone is enough to resolve to all the rapes. That alone is a lot to resolve to all the insecurities and injustice the girl child is facing in Cameroon. Talking about some cultural practices, talking about poverty, talking about drug abuse. We know of recent, we've seen a lot increase of drug consumption in schools, especially with the boy child. If he drugs himself, it becomes so easy for him to rape a vulnerable girl child. So there are a lot of factors that we need to put in place. And this goes back to our security officers.
All right. Yenchi Ernestine, civil society activist, and earlier we had Ntiwum Emmanuel, equally a civil society activist. Both of them are teachers. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. We continue analyzing the Head of State's address to young people in the Republic of Cameroon, according to ahead of the National Youth Day celebration coming up. Équinoxe special edition addressing the Head of State's speech to young people in Cameroon today. Serge Alengutu is there with his guest. The analysis continue on the Équinoxe. Thanks for staying with us.